Hello pumpkins, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing this angel design with the black sun chest piece and feathers and all that good stuff. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and become a member of the pumpkin family. And now let's get into the tutorial. So we're going to start with a light grey face paint, and for this design we're going to start with the chest piece. So we're going to sketch a circle in the middle of the chest, as perfect a circle as you can manage, and then we're going to equally space out 8 lines coming out from that circle. Then we're going to join those lines back down to the circle on each side to create triangles, and then we're going to go right around the outside of the design again, leaving around a ½ centimetre gap in between. And then we're going to do the same on the inside of the circle. Then we're going to fill our outer border with white face paint, and then we're going to fill the gap between the circles in the middle with gold face paint. Now we're going to map out the general shape of our feathers. So I've done a curved triangular line, and then from the top point we're going to start drawing in almost petal or leaf-like shapes all the way along that guideline. And then on top of those petal shapes we're going to make another layer and another and another until the whole chest and neck is complete. And we're also going to take the feathers up onto the sides of the face as well. And then we're going to fill in the rest of the chest with white or pale grey face paint. I chose white, but either will look good. And then with more white face paint we're going to colour in each feather shape individually, leaving that light grey line visible in between each one. Moving on to the face, we're going to use a sponge and some diluted white face paint to cover the entire face, and then we're going to use a flat brush to spread it out and thin it and make it nice and even. We're going to go right over the eyes, right up to the hairline, and if your ears are showing you'll need to paint those white too. Now with our regular white face paint we're going to create a V shape on the forehead, and then we're going to thicken that line to around 1 centimetre wide. Staying with the white face paint, we're going to paint some spirals around the chin and jawline and connect those up to the feathers on the sides of the face. Now the chest paint has had time to dry, we're going to go back over the feathers with our white face paint and a fine brush, and we're going to apply light wispy strokes coming from the centre of each feather outward and over the grey border. Going over each feather individually gives a really nice delicate feathery texture that we're going for without having to be too intricate. As you can see, it's not a difficult technique, but depending on the amount of feathers you've drawn, it might just take a little bit of time to do, so just make sure you have time before you begin. Now we're going to add some dimension to the face using a very pale grey face paint, and I'm defining the V shape on the forehead and trying not to paint my baby hairs in the process. And I'm also going to do a little bit of light contouring along my nose. And we're going to blend that out with that flat brush that we used earlier. Now we're going to disguise the eyebrows with some white liquid eyeliner. If you don't have eyebrows, you won't need to do this step. We'll be painting them gold in just a moment. Moving on to our eyes, we're going to get rid of any creasing by applying some white concealer to the eyelids, and then we're setting that with some white eyeshadow. If you get creasing underneath your eyes, you'll need to set there too, and you really want to set that whole area really well so that it stays nice and bright and evenly coloured. To add a bit of definition to the eyes, we're going to apply a light grey eyeshadow at the outer corners in a soft wing shape, and then we're going to take what's left on the brush to blend that grey through the crease of the eye. If you don't have a natural crease in your eyelid, you can close your eyes and use the shape of the eyeball underneath to guide you. Then we're going to shade around the V shape on the forehead, both on the top and the bottom, to make it really nice and defined. Now we're going to line the waterlines with some gold waterproof eyeliner, and then we're going to use that same pencil to line the lips. And then we're going to be filling them in with some gold face paint. Or you can use a gold lipstick if you have one. For that beautiful ethereal angelic glow, we're going to add some really fine pale gold glitter to the lips and the inner corners of the eyes, the V on the forehead, you know what, pretty much everywhere. We want some angelic highlight going on, so you really can't go too crazy with this. Just keep applying it and keep applying it until you're happy. As previously mentioned, we're going to fill in our eyebrows with gold face paint, and we're going to keep them in line with that V shape so that it flows nicely together. If you have any white mascara, you're going to be applying that next to the top and bottom lashes, but I don't have any of that white mascara, so I'm using white face paint, and I'm making sure to really coat those lashes really well. And if you lose any of that gold in the waterline, you can go back in with that now. Now we're going to accent the design with some gold pearls, which you can get from the craft store, and we're going to stick those in place using false lash glue. Now to finish off the sun, we're going to fill in all of the gaps and go over the grey lines with black face paint. You're going to want to take your time with this step, because if it smudges or if a line goes wobbly, it's going to be quite obvious to the eye. So just make sure you take your time, and if you're worried, you can always use a thinner brush so that you can correct any mistakes that may happen along the way. As a final bit of detail, we're going to be adding some small dots around that outer border, and we're going to make sure to keep those dots really nice and small and equally spaced. And to add a last bit of definition, we're going back in with our grey eyeshadow to add some very light shading to the feathers. So here's the look completed. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe before you leave, and I will talk to you in the next video.